instructional video on emergency stops? Arguably, probably not. However, to be absolutely confident that you're not going to get criticised on a test, there's probably one or two things you should bear in mind. And it's all about observations. You've got to be safe when you've stopped. So pretty much anyone's capable, or should be capable of, moving their foot from their gas pedal swiftly over to your brake pedal, push down as hard as you can, and the split second after you're broken, drop your clutch so you don't stall. Doesn't really matter if you forget your clutch, but ideally you just want to avoid that stalling. Soon as you've stopped, I would stick it in neutral, handbrake on, and have a look in all mirrors just to see what the situation is behind you. The only time I wouldn't do that is if it's a bit of a fluid situation, and maybe you're on a motorway perhaps and you've had to brake. You might just glance in your mirrors and see cars careering behind you, so then you don't want to put your handbrake on. You probably just want to make sure you're backing first, and if you at all can, aim for the bit where a car's not going to hit you. Hopefully it'll be the left hand. You can just get out of the way to the left hand lane to the hard shoulder. So you might not want to put your handbrake on straight away. So you want to stop, rear view mirrors, all your mirrors straight away. If there's nothing in immediate danger behind you, neutral, handbrake on. On a test, that's what you do, because they're not going to do an emergency stop when there's something behind you. They will spend a considerable amount of time considering where they're going to do your emergency stop manoeuvre and make sure there's nothing behind you before you actually do it. So emergency stop on your test, you'll stop, hopefully. Have a look in your mirrors, put it in neutral, handbrake on, and wait for their instructions. If you do a good emergency stop on your test, I guarantee you your heart will be going 10 to the dozen. Your next instruction from your examiner will be, right, when you're ready, move off. So just give yourself time to calm down. If it's real life and a deer's just shot past you and just missed your car bonnet by a paint width, coat of paint width, you're shaking, absolutely no doubt about it, and it'll take you a couple of seconds to think, oh my god, without hooves coming through your windscreen. So just lower your heart rate, just take a couple of seconds, or as long, a couple of deep breaths, lower your heart rate again. I mean, why wouldn't you? Why would you start driving off when you're shaking? So just look after yourself, wait till you're ready and your thoughts are collected, and think, right. And the benefit of doing that on your test is because the next part of you moving, you've got to have had a look in all your blind spot areas and had a good look round before you move. If you're nervous and your heart's going, there's a huge propensity to think, oh right, I'll just pull off straight away. And you've either forgotten to put it in gear, or you just don't look around you, so your examiner's going to think, well, that's not safe, because anything could be changing behind you. Cars could have been bored and come around left or right, and they'll fail you straight away. So it's two halves: the braking bit, stopping, resetting yourself, having a couple of really deep breaths, and then the checking all the way around and setting off after you've done it. So we'll have a quick look, just in case there's any discrepancies. So we're just going to go down this country lane, have a good look to make sure there's nothing going to be anywhere around. Awesome. Right, so we'll go down here. They'll make you, if you do it on a test, they'll make you do about 25 miles an hour. So possibly between second and third gear. So you might just go into third or something like that, but you're doing more than the jogging speed. They'll have a look behind, they'll warn you that they're going to look behind and make sure it's clear, and then they're going to say at some stage, I'll put my arm up, and in a sturdy voice, I'll say we're going to do the emergency stop exercise, you mind, blah blah blah, whatever it's going to be. So you're ready when he goes, boom, or she, to whip your foot over to your brake, boom, as hard as you can. You don't want to dribble to a wimpy stop. It's got to be bang on, because that's the difference between collecting someone on your bonnet or hooves through your windscreen. So it's got to be hard. So there's no one around, we're just about to do it, so I'll just assume that an instructor is going to say stop. Got to be hard. As soon as you've done that, look all around you and then get ready to move on. So the examiner will now say, right, that's perfectly fine, when you're ready please move on. So I think, okay, we're alright, there's no immediate danger behind me, I'm just going to take my time. Okay, make sure we're in first, happy days, everything's set, no warning lights going off. Let's have a look round. Absolutely no danger of anything coming past me. I'm good to go. Off we go. So that's what they're looking for. Don't have to do it any quicker than that. It's almost like a test of nerve. Have you lost your nerve because you've shaken yourself up and you've avoided disaster and impending doom? But it doesn't stop there. It's just having that breath, making sure everything's safe around you before you move off again. Because God, would you be kicking yourself if you failed your test on that? So have a few practices in areas that's nice and quiet, nice and straight, nice and flat, and just get used to the abrupt feeling of it. You can't do any damage to your car because they're built quite tough, but get your foot pushed right down on your brake as hard as you can so you stop quick. Don't dribble to a hole. You're only going to come a cropper if you're doing it on a test, if you don't brake hard enough and if you don't do your observations. So if you do that, should be absolutely fine.